Things are getting pretty heated in the world of AI. We've got a major public battle brewing between Elon Musk and OpenAI, the company he actually helped start. It all kicked off with a lawsuit from Musk, but now OpenAI is firing back, claiming his whole case is built on a distortion of the facts.
So how is OpenAI fighting back? Well, they've gone public with private emails and even journal entries. Their claim is that Musk is misrepresenting history by using cherry-picked quotes. They're saying that if you look at the full context of these conversations, you get a very, very different story. All right, so the heart of OpenAI's defense is this accusation of cherry-picking. Let's just quickly break down what exactly they mean by that. I mean, you know what this is, right? It's when you only show the evidence that proves your point and conveniently leave out everything that doesn't. OpenAI is basically saying Musk's entire lawsuit is built on this, and they've released some pretty specific examples to try and prove it. So OpenAI has put out these side-by-side comparisons, showing what Musk's lawsuit claims versus what they say is the full story. Let's dig into the key examples they've shared. Okay, so first up, Musk's lawsuit presents this quote to argue that he always insisted that OpenAI had to stay a pure nonprofit, a philanthropic effort. But then, OpenAI drops the full sentence. And, well, it kind of changes the meaning. They're saying the discussion wasn't about staying a nonprofit, it was actually about how to transition away from being one, while still keeping the mission. He's literally mentioning B Corps or C Corps, which aren't for-profit companies. A completely different conversation. Now, this next one is juicy. The lawsuit pulls a line from co-founder Greg Brockmans' private diary. And it really sounds like a smoking gun, doesn't it? Like he's admitting they secretly wanted to become a for-profit company, going against Musk's wishes. But hold on. OpenAI argues that the rest of the diary entry tells a different story. They say this wasn't some secret plot, but a choice between bad options. The note apparently says they'd prefer a B Corp over getting absorbed by Tesla, but they'd prefer staying a nonprofit over that Tesla merger too. All of a sudden, it sounds less like a secret plan and more like a desperate negotiation. Okay, this quote is a powerful one. It really makes it sound like the founders knew they were doing something shady. I mean, saying it would be morally bankrupt to switch to a for-profit structure without Musk, that seems like a clear admission of guilt. But according to OpenAI, this is the most out-of-context quote of all. They claim this wasn't an admission of guilt, but part of an ethical argument against deceiving Musk. They're saying Brockman was arguing that they shouldn't agree to Musk's terms because they knew they might need to become a for-profit later, and doing that switch behind his back would be morally bankrupt. So they're completely flipping it, saying this quote is proof of their honesty, not a confession. So what was all this tension in 2017 really about? If it wasn't a simple nonprofit versus for-profit debate, what was the real issue? Well, OpenAI says it all came down to one thing: control. Here's the story according to OpenAI. Everybody agreed they needed a for-profit entity to raise the insane amount of money required for AGI research. But they claim the breaking point was when Musk demanded majority ownership and absolute control of this new company. He even suggested just merging OpenAI directly into Tesla. The leadership team said no, and that's when, they allege, the whole negotiation fell apart. So after those negotiations completely broke down, the paths of Elon Musk and OpenAI went in very different directions, really setting the stage for the conflict we see today. So in February 2018, Musk leaves OpenAI, saying he's just going to go build AGI over at Tesla. A year later, OpenAI moves forward and creates that for-profit structure. Then you fast forward to 2023, and Musk launches his own AI competitor, xAI. And that brings us right to today's escalating legal battle. Look, this whole dispute is so much bigger than just a disagreement between some former partners. It brings up some really fundamental questions for the entire field of artificial intelligence. It really forces us all to ask, in this incredibly expensive race to build AGI, how does a project with a really noble, open mission even survive? Is shifting to a commercial model just an inevitable compromise you have to make? Or is it a betrayal of your founding principles? This case is putting that very question on trial for all of us to watch.